I still really don't think Lamar Jackson is a franchise guy. Lamar Jackson is basically a running back.
If the Ravens are like, okay, we want a young guy.
Yeah.
I think they trade for Trey Lance. All right, so now we're going to be talking about the NFL coaching carousel. Black Monday was this past Monday.
Uneventful.
Yeah, it wasn't very eventful, but there was a couple major firings, and we're just going to discuss those. So, the big ones were the Texans fired Lovie Smith after one season, and then Cliff Kingsbury got fired. I want to talk about the Lovie Smith one because I feel like that's like kind of the less important one, but yeah, it was a bit of a shocker because, I mean, he's literally been for the team for 1 year.
Well, that, and he really didn't do...
And he was set up for failure.
Right. What could he have possibly done with the roster that he had?
And that's the second time that the Texans have done that. Like
second time in a year.
Yeah, last year with David Kelly, 1 year gone. Then they signed Lovie Smith, 1 year gone. So, like, in my opinion, like, everyone dogs on, like, the Commanders or having, like, the worst run franchise. I think the Texans are the worst run franchise.
They're definitely up there.
Absolutely.
Because you go through, like, if you look at this team, other than Damian Pierce and, like, Derek Stingley, there's really
Brandon Cooks, baby.
Yeah, but
he's going to be traded.
He's going to be gone.
So, like, other than that, there's really not many bright spots to this team. Larry Tunsil, too. Yeah. But other than, like, a couple guys, there's really not many bright spots to this team. And, like, I feel like you can't just go in coach after coach after coach after coach. Like, you have to set...
You have to set a clear
team. You have to have a ground
organization. Even if you win 3 games for the next 3 years, like... You
build a chemistry.
Yeah, you have to stick with something.
Yeah.
And I think... Like, I don't think David Culley was necessarily, like, a bad coach. I think he was giving nothing and did the best he could with nothing.
Well, Lovie Smith was giving nothing, too.
That's what I meant, yeah. Lovie Smith. So, like, I feel like... I don't think he should have been fired. And I heard some things like the locker room that really respected Lovie Smith. Like,
they actually, he's a respectable guy.
They really liked him and everything. And then obviously people were talking about, like, since it's a black coach, he got fired and all that stuff. So I don't know if that wasn't the reason.
I don't know if that factors into it as much as
it wasn't the reason, but it does, like...
It raises questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, but I think, like, I don't know. I feel like the Texans are just... They're not helping themselves with this.
No.
Like, no one... Like, none of these, like, premier guys that are in names now are going to be trying to go to the Texans.
Nope.
They're going to get some, like, an offensive or defensive coordinator that either you haven't heard before or, like, maybe is decent. But I feel like I don't really know how much a new coach is really going to help them with if you don't have any pieces to do anything with.
I'm hoping we can see John Mechie on the field this year.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I saw something today that he
is progressing.
He's looking like he could be ready by the off-season training camp.
Which would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
So that would be good. And then they have the 2nd overall pick, and then the 7th.
Yeah,
I think
it's another. First
it's early.
It's not
early.
That high. I think it's like 14th or something.
It's. I think it's around.
They got it from Miami, didn't they?
No,
not Miami.
Bengals or the Browns.
The Browns.
Yeah, I think it's like 13th or 14th.
Okay, so then so they have 2 first-round picks. So yeah, they can work with some stuff. But yeah, I just didn't really agree with the firing. I thought it was too early. I would at least give them like another year.
I think the Texans have like assets to turn their franchise around. Like, they have a lot of picks.
Yeah.
So if they hit on them, they should be able to turn around. But the coach is kind of an issue.
Yeah, you can't just flip from coach to coach every single
year.
Until you like are respected teams.
Well, and
they have 2-12.
They aren't.
2-12, okay.
And like you said, they aren't going to really pull anybody noteworthy because I mean
they don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it depends on coaching. The coach they bring in.
The Texans, like pound for pound, are probably the worst team in the NFL. Like, they have nothing. There is nothing there. So it's going to be tough to get.
Yeah, it's not just that. The Texans don't have any sense of like history.
Yeah,
or anything.
You had potential.
They're one of the most poorly run organizations in the league. It's not just this. The whole handling of the Deshaun Watson scenario, that whole thing. The past
you got rid of J.J. Watt.
Yeah, got rid of J.J. Watt. The past
DeAndre Hopkins.
For the David Johnson trade.
God.
I mean, a lot of that's on Bill O'Brien, but like still, you kept him around for this long.
Yeah.
I feel like the Texans have just been like unloading a mag into their foot, and then are like, my foot's bleeding. What's what? They did this to themselves.
Yeah,
and I don't.
And
they don't have anything.
It's gotten so bad and so far that it's like, how do they even recover?
Where do they go?
It's like where do they turn? How do they recover from this?
The thing is, like, before the Texans lost the 1st overall pick, they were serious discussions on them not taking a quarterback this year because the rest of their roster is so bad.
Yeah.
And the next
I
year's
don't
quarterback class
disagree
is
with
so
that.
bad.
You just take
You
the
just
best
take Will
player
Anderson or
available.
Jalen Carter at number 1.
I don't disagree with that. Like they have nothing, and bringing in a quarterback is not going to fix that.
Firing a head
helps,
coach after
but it
every year doesn't do anything for you.
And also, they're not a free agency destination.
No one wants to go to Houston.
No teams wants to go to them unless they just pay them more than the other
Ungodly.
teams.
Buttload of money.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like how did the Bengals get turned around within like
They hit
a
on their
year?
draft picks.
They hit on their draft picks, yes, and like
But I also
They-
think
they
the Bengals
had,
were never at a
like-
spot where they were as bad as
no. But like what I'm saying is like they
Yeah,
had the first overall pick. They bring in their franchise cornerstone quarterback, but they had some.
They
pieces.
hired Zach Taylor and stuck with him.
Yeah,
stuck
like
with the
they
coach
had
through
like
thick
something.
They had an identity. They're like, if
Yeah.
you come to Cincinnati, this is the brand of football we're going to play.
Yeah, but the Texans like they don't have anything. So them bringing in Bryce Young, I don't think it's going to really make much of a difference because they don't have anything.
They don't have anything around it.
They have nothing on their coaching staff. Like they have nothing on their team. No
Bad
pieces
O-line,
around them.
Bad defense, not a great receiving core.
I
Their left side of the O-line's not too bad.
I like what they did this past year.
Yeah,
With
they
had a good draft this past.
Kenyon Green.
Jalen Petrie, John Mechie, Christian Harris,
They're gonna do a lot
Damian
more of that.
Pierce.
They just need those guys to develop because
Yeah.
Christian Harris is like really raw.
Yeah.
Well, the
Mechie obviously didn't play this year.
Well, they got
the 2 years
some
before
French guys.
the 2
on
years
both
before
sides.
the 2 years before that they didn't have a first round pick either. So
And now they'll have probably 2 for the
foreseeable future, like
foreseeable
2-3
future, yeah.
years.
So that's why I say I think they have the assets that are needed to turn this franchise around.
Yeah.
But it's just like even still with that, it's like
They're in a
Where
dark
do you
spot
go?
right
Their
now.
GM still there?
No, they fired. No. Their GM is still there. You're right. It's the
Supposed
Cardinals
to
GM.
be.
that
who,
got fired.
but like,
I wasn't sure.
who are you gonna hire? Like, what coach wants to go
I
there?
mean, let's look. I'll look and see who they're like looking
I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
like-
I heard Kellen Moore's in there.
I believe it. Yeah, Kellen Moore. He's been linked with everyone though.
Are they gonna fire him? I mean, like, are they gonna give him 1 year? And
The
he
Cowboys
goes,
aren't going to fire their OC. But
No, I'm
if,
talking-
if
No,
it's
like,
an enticing
if-
job
If
offer,
the Texans fired Kellen Moore, what are we doing?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I wouldn't be
are they-
shocked either,
Are they,
but-
are they gonna give him like 1 year? He goes 4-13,
4-13,
and
you
they
have to
fire him. Like,
Well, you have like with the Bengals, you have to expect at the beginning with new change, and you're a bad team.
yeah,
it's going to take a
gonna
bit
take-
of time
yeah.
for you to
yeah, but apparently,
get settled.
I mean, I
It
guess
seems
the
like
Texans don't-
what the Texans have done these past 2 years is guys to get them by.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way of putting it.
They want-
they
want-
hired Lovie Smith for the intention that they would fire him this time.
Yes,
This
that
like,
and
they want like an immediate fix, and it is literally impossible
It's
for them
not
to get
gonna
that.
happen.
With the position they're in, it's going to be a couple year journey.
So here's the list of candidates that they've either requested interviews for or have shown interest in. So Jonathan Gannon, the Eagles defensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, the Eagles offensive coordinator,
yep.
Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, DeMarco Ryans, 49ers defensive coordinator, and then Ejiro Evero, Broncos defensive coordinator, and then
I wouldn't take anybody from the Broncos.
and then Mike Kafka.
What? Have you not seen what
Yeah.
they've done with that defense?
Their defense is
Yeah,
still
their
legit.
defense
Their defense is
solid.
top in the
defense is
league.
still
This
legit.
team is awful.
And then Mike Kafka, Giants offense coordinator, Thomas Brown, Rams assistant coach, tight ends coach. I'm
sorry, Zach.
Sean Payton.
Yeah, they do have a good defense, but I mean, seriously, look at that team. It's god awful.
I think it was more Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, I think it was more offensive wise.
I
That
think-
defense kept them in games.
I think
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans would be.
I think I like D'Amico Ryans.
Because he played. This says that he played linebacker for the Texans, so he already has some sort of connection with the Texans. And I mean, that for San Francisco defense is the best in
Oh,
the league
it's
right now.
insane.
And so I mean, that's
It's
where
a
you-
lot to do with
They-
roster
and-
construction, but
Yeah.
still, you got to have someone to coach the unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. I do like the Broncos DC too. I think those are my top two.
I would go for the Niners one over the Broncos one.
Those would be my top two.
But
Yeah,
will they
they
even
put
get
Sean
either of
Payton
those
in
two
there,
guys?
too.
Yeah,
But Sean Payton's not going to the
He's not
Texans.
going to the Texans. That's not happening.
Will they get either of those two guys? That was the question.
No idea.
They pay him enough money.
Potential.
Yeah, they might.
There's potential.
But then they turn around and fire him when they aren't 10-7 next season.
Should we move to the big boy?
Cliff Kingsbury.
I had a feeling this was coming.
Yeah,
though.
I knew
It should have happened after last season.
I think
Yeah.
everybody
I
knew
knew
this was happening.
he was a fail.
And it's obvious. It's obvious that him and Kyler were not.
Their relationship was just getting worse and worse.
I literally called this since he got hired. The guy who failed with Patrick Mahomes in college is not a good NFL head coach. Whoa,
Shocking.
who would have seen that? And it's the same story every year. Start out hot, look like a contender, collapse in the back half of the season.
Yep.
Every single season with this guy. Which this year, it just everything went
This
against
year
the
was just
Cardinals.
awful.
Yeah, this year was just terrible. And like you alluded to, Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury are just not
Their relationship
On
was
the
getting
same-
They're
worse
like
and
oil and
worse.
water.
Yeah,
Don't
it-
mix.
Yeah.
not on the same page at all. But he coached Patrick Mahomes. Like
Yeah. They
Patrick Mahomes is a freak.
They're in an interesting spot because Kyler's going to be out for a couple weeks for the during
Heading
the
into
season.
next
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
yeah.
There,
season.
yeah.
And
They
then
wanna
they
get
just
rid of
said-
D-Hop.
They just said they want to get rid of D-Hop.
JJ just retired.
They want retired.
And then they lose their GM.
They fired
Yeah,
the
they
GM
fired the
too.
GM too.
Which their
So
GM
it's like
was
a
not great
Yeah,
either.
so they have the
They got like a
fourth-
wide open
no,
franchise
sorry,
there.
third
Third pick.
third.
Yeah.
Colts had the fourth pick. So they had the third pick.
Yeah.
So like they're kind of in an interesting.
At least we have a
spot.
direction.
They're in
Yeah.
an interesting spot because like I feel like they're not like a tanking team,
No,
Like,
But
you
they're not-
can't with Kyler Murray.
but they're not like a
they're not at
they're not a
a
playoff team that'd be confident enough to like win a playoff game.
right.
But they're not like a terrible team. They're kind of in that weird like mediocrity spot. But like this year they were bad enough.
This year they were awful.
yeah. But I feel like roster wise they're kind of in that like
Yeah, roster wise, it's not good enough to win a Super Bowl or anywhere even close to that. But like, it's not.
it's not bad.
It's not as bad as what it was this
Yeah,
year.
it's not bad enough for you to just like kind of and like you said with Kyler Murray, you can't just waste.
You
him
can't
away.
just tank with Kyler Murray.
Well, they got Kyler, they got Hollywood,
I love Hollywood.
No more.
Rondale Moore,
Those
Isaiah
D-Hop.
Simmons on defense.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
they got a
got
couple.
one-
Those D
Buda
Baker.
Yeah, Buda Baker.
James Conner was decent.
James Conner,
James
yeah,
that's
James
what I was
Conner.
thinking of.
Yeah, so I mean, they got
They've
some
got
good pieces.
pieces.
Yeah.
Those
You
D.
can't just tank with them.
I think it really was coaching. I think
I
Cliff Kingsbury was a bad coach.
I also think
I don't
that they
think he was
need
the guy
to-
for him.
They also need to. Their front four outside of JJ Watt is not good.
No, it's
Nope.
not at
So
all.
they need to address the defense. I would say more than offense.
Offensive line's iffy too.
Their offense is not really that bad.
No, it's
really
not. When
not.
fully healthy, they can make noise.
Their
Like,
defense
they
is
could
what's
go,
the
I've
issue.
seen they could go
They could go multiple.
depending on how the board falls. Like either depending on like
Will Anderson or Jalen Carter should be
yeah,
there.
You think
or,
Will
or I saw
Anderson-
some Miles Murphy as well.
Wow.
Yes, I have heard Miles Murphy too.
Depends on how Brian Breesy does in the combine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
They
Brian
can, too.
Percy. So yeah, they have, but I think they should definitely go defense.
Yeah, for sure.
Those D Hop sweepstakes are going to be pretty fun
that's
too.
good.
I wonder what the
Oh, listen to this.
Probably
So,
a second.
It would be a
I'd say
second.
a second.
only a second round pick.
Yeah, he's like 32.
do you want to hear a
Yeah.
stupid Madden? is
Plus
with it?
his cap hit.
So
Yeah, his
I-
cap hit's gonna be
I was
massive.
playing with the Cardinals yesterday, and I was like, all right, let's just put D-Hop on the block. The Bengals offered me Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and like a second.
Oh yeah, you told me about
And I
that
was like,
in the party last
what
night.
the-
What
heck?
type of trade is? Did you take it?
No.
That's Madden logic for you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
that
got
sounds- that
offered,
sounds
I got
like
offered
Madden.
Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell, and somebody else, and I thought that was a little bit more realistic than taking the top two receivers.
That's not
for
even
the
realistic.
Bengals.
Debo, Elijah, and someone else. I wouldn't.
That's awful.
All
That's
of-
still
all of-
just as that is
all
still
of the-
bad.
all
but
of the
it's
trades
not
were
not
like,
quite that bad. It's still bad.
all of the trades were like way up there, but I was like, wow.
That's Madden for
I
you.
think the Cardinals could probably get like a second and like maybe another third
yeah.
for D
I
Hop.
think you.
They're not trading a first round pick for a guy who's 32.
I think it's the second.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
and he's been.
That was a joke, all right? That was literally a joke. That would be the dumbest thing possible.
he says that now.
I think
I-
the second spot.
If we
That
get
would
to
be the
this
dumbest
later-
thing.
If we get to this later, I'll bring it up.
What'd you say?
It was about
About
so
Hopkins.
I saw the D Hop sweepstakes where that he wanted traded.
He sent me a post.
I
on
sent the
Instagram,
post
they
and I
wanted to trade
said
him.
Bears question mark because you look at
First overall
Yeah.
pick.
because you look at it. Yeah, he said first overall pick. I said no
Oh
way.
no.
That was a joke.
But I'm just saying, you look at it. Look at guys like Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Get AJ Brown. Look at the year he has.
AJ Brown's only like 25 though. And Hopkins is like 30.
older.
I know,
But he's still
but Josh Allen, they brought in Stephon Diggs, and look at
Stephon
this.
Diggs is young too.
Look at the step. But
He was
I'm,
at the time.
I'm not
He's trying
saying.
to say-
I'm not saying the
Get a
age.
top tier receiver and your quarterback booms in production.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
saying like the age. I don't care about. I'm talking. You get a top tier receiver, and look at the step that they make.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm so
I wouldn't mind
high.
seeing.
That's why I'm so high on the Bears this year. We'll get to that.
I
at
wouldn't
some
mind
point.
seeing him go to the Bears at all. That was just a joke, though. For them to trade their first overall pick would be retarded.
Yeah, I don't think the Bears would do that because of D-Hop's age, though. Like, I don't think the
That's
Bears...
what I'm saying.
I don't
That's
think
the
the Bears
concern I
are a
was
team
saying.
that's a top-tier receiver away from being a playoff contender. Like, they still need another year or two to finally get the wheels on the train
And
rolling.
he's 32,
Yeah.
so, I mean...
By the time they get back,
he'll
he's
be
going to
done.
be 35. He'll have a significant decline in production unless he's, like, got... I don't know.
Jerry Rice
unless
type.
He's got, like, the fee serum from the boys in him or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we've
Compound
already
fee,
talked
that's what it's
about
called.
we talked about the Broncos last podcast. But Nick, since you're on here, who obviously the Colts have a opening
Coaching
Yeah,
vacancy.
coaching vacancy.
Who are you?
I've heard
wanting them to get.
they've
What
been-
do you believe that they will get?
They've been interviewing a lot of different guys. I think it's going to come down to what they do with Chris Ballard and what they do as like in like the front office.
Yep.
Because I'm telling you right now, Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay have two very different visions on where they want to go. Because they've been interviewing the Lions offensive and defensive coordinator. They've been like taking calls for like
Sean Payton.
like
So
all
they
the
took
other
calls
guys.
for the Eagles offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I already said Lions offensive coordinator, Lions defensive coordinator, Rams defensive coordinator.
Is
Broncos defensive
Yeah, they
coordinator.
also
Is Kellen Moore on there or no?
Maybe.
I don't know.
And then they said Jeff Saturday, but I think that's just because.
Jim Irsay wants Jeff Saturday as the head coach.
Why?
And then Jim Harbaugh.
Beats me. And then they interviewed their special teams coordinator like today or yesterday.
And then potentially Jim Harbaugh.
I was getting to that. Give Jim Harbaugh a blank check and let him write whatever he wants on it and hire him as your head coach right now. Because there's been rumblings that if he was offered an NFL job, he would take it. He would leave Michigan and go back to the NFL. I think that he is. I don't know why he's even considering it. He's made Michigan into a top 2 or 3 program in college, or not top 2 or 3, but top 5 program in college football in 2 years. He's finally playing the brand of football that he wants to play at Michigan. But if I'm the front office in Indianapolis, I am strongly considering doing everything I can to get Jim Harbaugh as the head coach. That's obviously the dream. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I think he would fit their...
He would.
Like, their roster.
It's a
too,
run-
because
it's-
they're...
They want to be a run-heavy team with Jonathan Taylor.
with Jonathan Taylor,
Yeah.
it would fit.
Their defense, too, has pieces. Like, they were healthy. Like, Shaq Leonard missed essentially the whole year with his back injury, but he had surgery in the offseason. The issue is, I don't know how many pieces on that defense are going to be around this time next year.
Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah, Ngakoue, Kenny Moore, Stephon Gilmore. Like, their defense was good until the back half of the season. Yeah. Their defense, when they actually had something to play for, played really well. And then the last, 4 weeks happened, and everyone kind of just checked out. But they want to be a run-heavy team, and their defense has pieces. Their defense is still, very decent. Like, they've got pieces defensively. I think Jim Harbaugh would fit the Colts very well, but that's obviously, the dream. Jim Harbaugh's a proven head coach in the NFL. He led the Niners to a Super Bowl. He's got a history of being a good coach in the NFL.
Yeah,
It's not like you're hiring some random guy who's got first.
So that probably won't happen.
It could.
There's potential.
It could very well happen.
There's potential.
But I don't know if Jim Harbaugh's really going to want to leave Michigan. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
So if they don't give Jim Harbaugh, I would love a guy from the Lions. I would be okay with either their offensive or defensive coordinator, to be honest. I think, realistically, that is my, if they hire one of the offensive or defensive coordinators from the Lions, I'd be okay with that. I think that would be where I would go.
I think I'd be happy with either the Eagles as well.
Eagles, I wouldn't be upset with that either. As long as it's not Jeff Saturday. I love you, Jeff. Be our O-line coach, but,
this experiment didn't work.
This experiment, he said maybe he's no good.
I didn't expect it to
I
either.
didn't expect it to either. Listen, he did what he had to, and now we have the 4th overall pick, which I'm
There
very
you go.
excited for.
Get Stroud.
I heard they were on the 3-yard line. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't watch a whole lot of Colts games because there's
It
not
is
much
what
to
it
watch.
is. I'm
But
not offended by that.
apparently, they were on the 3-yard line, right? Go out to kick a field goal on 4th down.
It was against the Texans. The crowd booed them. They booed them. Saturday calls a timeout
To run a play.
They bring the offense back out there, and they get stuffed on the goal line.
That was hilarious.
That's against the Texans. That's a real thing that happened. They go out, line up, kick a field goal. The crowd boos them. Jeff Saturday uses a timeout besides to draw up a play, they run the play with Sam Ellinger, they don't get the touchdown. They turn the ball over. I saw that. I was watching Red Zone at the time. I wasn't even watching the game. I saw that on Twitter. I was dying for about 5 minutes. I'm like, did that really just happen? So yeah, I'm glad that you threw that in there. That was so funny when I heard about that. But yeah, that's just a microcosm of their season this year.
Wow.
That was so funny. But yeah, I'd be okay with any of the guys like Jim Harbaugh, Lions offensive defensive coordinator, Eagles.
I think Jim Harbaugh would be really cool.
If we get Jim Harbaugh, I'm gonna be over the moon. I'm gonna be so happy.
I feel like that's probably the least likely one, but I
don't
still
know if it's
feel like
least likely,
cool.
but it's still like a dream scenario.
I would like to see that just because I really think that would because the Colts want to be like
a run-heavy team.
Yeah, the Colts want to have the identity of a hard-nosed, like aggressive, run-heavy football team, and so I think with Jim Harbaugh, I think that would really play into that attitude.
Speaking of Harbaugh, John Harbaugh might lose his quarterback because he's looking like he's not going to be with Lamar for the wild card game, and he's been talking to like the press, and they're asking him like, "Is this about like contract dispute? Like, why is he not playing?" And he was like, "Well, he's actually hurt." And the second one, he was like, he declined to like say anything, and he kind of sounded like pissed about it. Like he was kind of just like mad about it, and kind of just sounded like over it. And so I feel like, in my opinion, I think Lamar's gone.
I think
I think that ship has sailed. I don't think that he's going to go back to the Ravens. I think,
which is really bad for the Ravens because
really
look at the Ravens without Lamar. I mean,
my prediction.
Say what you want about Lamar, but being a franchise quarterback, because I mean,
and I think with Lamar,
tag and trade.
Yeah, with Lamar being like kind of hurt towards the tail end of the past 2 seasons, and obviously like they didn't up. It hasn't been close, like in contract negotiation wise. Yeah. So I think he's either going to go. I think he's going to go to the Jags, or not Jags, sorry.
Jets.
The Jets or the Dolphins, one of those two.
All right, so
I think that's where he would end up if he's not going back to Baltimore, which I don't foresee happening.
Here's my thoughts on Lamar Jackson and this situation. So, going into the season, I said the Ravens absolutely need to re-sign him. They are stupid for not re-signing him, and I still stand by that. That was a mistake by the Ravens.
For sure.
Look, we talked about this
before
earlier.
The season started.
Well, we talked about this earlier, about how, like, look at the record when Lamar plays and when he doesn't play. It is significantly worse. So I think the Ravens are going to be in a tough spot, losing Lamar. I think that was really dumb of them not to re-sign him. Now, I will say that I still do not... I know you're going to roast me for this, and I'm sure other people will too, but I still really don't think Lamar Jackson is a franchise guy. Because...
What?
And just listen, just hear me out here. Okay?
Right.
And so... And we've talked about this before. You know my thoughts on this, and I don't think it's ridiculous. Lamar Jackson, his play style and how the Ravens use him it's really hard for him to be a long-term franchise quarterback because of the way they use him. Running quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson is basically a running back. Running backs in the NFL, their careers tend to be pretty short. So, I mean, it's really hard for Lamar Jackson to be a long-term franchise quarterback just because of the way the Ravens had used him. And I think that take and that thought is starting to come to fruition the past 2 years. This is the second straight year now where Lamar Jackson has not played a significant amount of time at the end of the season due to an injury.
You can't blame the player for getting hurt, though.
I'm not blaming the player. I'm just saying I don't think that the way they use him is I'm not blaming him for getting hurt, but just...
It's a PCL. Yeah.
But I'm not blaming Lamar Jackson for getting hurt, but what I'm saying is like the way he plays and the way they use him, like it's tough to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL if you're a run-heavy first quarterback. Because it's not his fault that he's getting injured. It's just that's what happens in the NFL when you are a running back.
But look at his injury this year. He was just rolling out of the pocket to try, like, the pocket had broke down. He got chased down from behind. He's not. I get what you mean. I personally think
stopping on a dime and cutting every single play.
I'm not saying, but
like what happened with Kyler.
I know. I'm just saying over time, playing the way
His
he
body's
does,
gonna
and
wear
the way-
down.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which
And
means
that's
he's going to
why
have to evolve. I think he's still a franchise guy.
I personally just don't think he's
He's
a
45 and
long-term
13 and
franchise
started with the Ravens and won an MVP. If that's not franchise guy, I don't know what is.
But long term,
Long term, I don't know. I think
he is not a Mahomes or a Burrow franchise.
that is valid.
That's what I mean.
I don't think he's conducive to long term success.
That
But
is what I mean.
Lamar Jackson. You can absolutely win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback.
Right now, yeah.
100%.
Right now, yes.
If you throw, like you said earlier, I think he goes to Miami. If they swap Tua for Lamar
I
Jackson
would
right
love
now,
that.
I think Miami wins the division.
I would love that.
I think,
That's what I
think they
want
win
to
the.
happen.
I think they win the division if Lamar Jackson's not.
That's
the
what
quarterback.
I've said that
Even with the
before.
Jets,
I want
I'm
him to
happy
go to the
Yeah.
with
Dolphins.
Even with the Jets, I'm happy with that.
Like I've made multiple comments before about how I want him to go to the
Yeah,
Dolphins, and I think that would be like awesome.
saying that-
but what I'm saying is that I just don't think he is a long-term franchise guy.
So where do you rank Lamar?
Lamar,
The quarterbacks in the league.
he's top 10.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm not
Just
I'm
making
not-
sure.
No, I'm not saying top 5 though.
No, I agree with that.
Who's your other half, Kirk Cousins or Lamar?
Lamar,
Okay,
obviously.
good. Okay,
But,
good.
but
Okay,
like,
here's a question.
that's not even a question.
Here's-
but I'm
here's a
just saying
question,
that like he's not. Lamar Jackson is not going to be your quarterback for 15, 20 years.
All right, I got a.
He's
question,
not gonna
though.
do
this.
that.
This is going to be interesting, right? Based off what they've done so far, Trevor Lawrence or Lamar.
Ooh, now that is a tough one.
That-
Based on what they've done so
what they
far
can
in the
do.
NFL,
So,
Lamar
are
Jackson.
you taking like future wise or like?
Depends on what.
It
depends.
like- Yeah, it's
you
your-
wanted somebody
Well,
to play today.
that's two different conversations, and that's
Yeah.
two different picks. Because if we're saying based on what they've done so far,
Right now.
easily Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson, because he's won an MVP and his record speaks for itself. But based on the future and what
Trevor
they
Lawrence.
can do, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think
Because Trevor Lawrence is that 15, 20-year franchise
He's
quarterback.
looking like it now.
Lamar Jackson is not that.
I think like how quarterbacks are now. So before it was like just pure pocket passers, and then it kind of shifted to like
Improvisers.
guys who all run.
Yeah.
And now I feel like the best quarterbacks in the league are guys who
Can throw.
who can throw the ball,
Fucking get
but
out.
can,
Get out.
but can extend.
The
plays
best quarterbacks
and
in the
scramble,
NFL are
but they're not-
improvisers.
But they're not really known for running the ball.
Yeah.
Like you look at Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, like Trevor Lawrence.
Their arm
he can
has to
evade
be
pressure.
like the number one thing, but they can also
Yeah.
get out of the pocket and
Yeah.
send plays
Yeah.
and make
Like
something
an-
out
yeah,
of nothing.
The
more
be-
like an
yeah.
improviser instead of like just a pure like scramble.
Yeah, no, the best quarterbacks in the NFL are improvisers. All five. My top 5 are Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. Well, okay, I'm not going to go through my top 5, but like the main, because I have guys that we would disagree on. So, but like the main,
That's fair. That's for another time.
yeah, that's for another time. But like the main guys right now are the 5 you said, and those are all improvisers because their arm is what they're known for, obviously. But like they can get out and extend plays and stuff. But Lamar Jackson is a runner. Like,
It's kinda
I
like-
disagree with that.
I disagree
How
with that,
disagree
too.
with that?
I think he's more than a passer, but like it's kind of like Kyler Murray is. Like Kyler Murray, he's got a good arm.
But he can
But
run.
his deadliest weapon is
Is
his
his
legs.
Is his
Yeah.
ability
The
to extend a
quarterbacks,
play.
Their deadliest weapon is their arm, but they can also run.
yes,
So I feel like
those
that-
are the better
that's what
quarterbacks.
like the type of quarterback that have shown recently that
Yeah.
How are you?
conducive to
Like,
success.
how are you guys disagreeing with me on the fact that Lamar Jackson is a runner? Like Jim Harbaugh,
He can throw the ball.
he can.
He can throw the.
He's a
I think
good
him
passer.
being-
He is a
20
valid passer.
2019, he had 36 passing touchdowns, Zach.
I think
He is a valid pass. Jim Harbaugh has openly said multiple times that he is a running back.
There's the thing. No, I think
Whether it be in a joking sense or not,
I think the stigma of him being
He
a
is
running
known
back
for
when
a
he won
running
MVP
quarterback.
went out the window. I think
Yes.
the stigma of him being just basically like a running back because that's what he was.
That's
going
what
into
everybody
college,
said,
going into
exactly.
college. I think
Yeah.
once he won MVP, we showed okay, this kid can. Throw
This
the
guy
ball.
can actually throw the football.
he
But
can,
running-
but
the
he's
running
not
is still
like.
the biggest part of his
Yeah.
game.
You have
But
to game plan
he's
for his legs.
He's so
Yeah.
more. He has so much more to his game than just being a runner.
Yes.
Like, he can throw the ball well.
And I'm not saying he
but he's not
can't.
going to pick up like 50 touchdowns. Like
What I'm
Like a Mahomes.
What
No.
I'm saying is that, personally, in my opinion, I don't think Lamar Jackson is the type of quarterback that is going to go out there and win you games with his arm.
It's like
You
personally,
don't need to have your arm to win you games at the
Personally-
quarterback position. Look at Cam Newton.
personally, I think he's like Jalen Hurts. I feel like that's a fair compromise on that.
I feel like Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is Lamar Jackson.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I
Lamar
think
Jackson
Jalen Hurts this year had 32 passing touchdowns and then 10 rushing touchdowns. Similar to what Lamar did that year he won MVP.
I feel like
it's similar aspects.
I feel like we aren't really disagreeing on this. It's more so that I'm saying he is not a long-term quarterback.
You called him a running back.
Yeah,
That's where
'cause
we have an issue with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he can't throw the ball, but I'm saying that he's not a spectacular passer.
Cam Newton, when he won MVP, was essentially a running back.
Okay,
Justin
and-
Fields in his current position is essentially a running back.
Okay, and look what happened to Cam Newton immediately after he won the MVP and lost in the Super Bowl.
It was 3-4 years afterwards.
Okay, still.
The Panthers still won 10 games a year.
But no,
so
I do
it's
think
4
to what
years.
he's saying, Lamar's play style isn't
Conducive to long-term
It's
winning.
not conducive
But
to a
I do-
long-term
which
franchise.
Which is why
quarterback.
they draft so many running backs quarterbacks just like him.
But I liked what you said. I think Lamar can evolve. I think he's shown that he can go from
He's going to have
from
to.
just a running back to a passer.
Yeah, he's
And I
proven
think-
he can throw
I
the
think
ball.
as he gets older, obviously running's still going to be part of his game, but he can kind of can put the
He's going to have to turn
Back
like
in
a
a
dominant
little
back.
bit.
I think
the Monday night game last year against the Colts,
I don't talk to me about that.
dude threw for almost 500
In
yards.
fairness, we had no one in our secondary. Our entire secondary was hurt, but it's still an NFL quarterback.
It's still
an NFL. It's still at the NFL.
I'm just saying that he's
500 yards.
I'm not dogging on Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying that as he gets older, his game has to change if he's going to stay in the NFL for a long term. He can I don't think he can be known as a scrambling running quarterback for his entire career and play for 20 years.
But you called him not a franchise guy and a
Yeah.
running back. That's where we have
Yeah,
the issue.
that's the part I struggle with.
Okay, the running back thing maybe, but I still agree that he's not a long term. And when I say
That
long,
wasn't the question.
I mean a long term franchise quarterback.
Okay,
You understand what I'm saying, and you agree with me.
to a sense.
To a sense, yes. He
That
is
I-
not
that
a
I can-
15-year franchise guy.
That I can get behind, but saying he's not a franchise guy, which is what he asked, is just not true.
Yeah.
Put him on the Dolphins can win the AFC.
Yes.
I don't disagree.
Yes.
He
I don't
he can be the face of a franchise.
Yes,
Yes,
but
for
not for 15, 20 years like Burrow and Mahomes can.
Yeah,
I mean,
is what I'm saying.
he's trying to say that you're not gonna have
You're not going to
you're
have
not
this
gonna
guy
have
for a
the same
very
Lamar-
long time,
You're not
is
gonna
what
have
I'm
the
saying.
same Lamar for 15 years without a significant drop.
Yes, that's what I'm
with,
saying.
Josh Allen.
Can he be a franchise quarterback in the face of the franchise right now for a couple of years? Yes.
I think
But
if he
not
evolves,
for long
I think
term.
if he evolves, he can be a
Yes.
quarterback franchise guy for a 15-year period. He has to evolve, though. I agree.
He has to evolve.
He has to.
And I'm not going to
That's
disagree
gonna,
with you
that's
on
gonna
that.
be key for him.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
But it's also the scheme. It's
Yes, it is also the scheme.
Baltimore did this on purpose because of him.
They built their offense around Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that.
But the fact that it was the dude can throw. If he can, that's what he can throw.
He can throw.
He-
He's
he's more than just his
he's
legs.
A running back is not true. Also, I got another point for you. You said that not 15 years of sustained success. Ask Rams fans if they would have rather had 15 years of sustained success or a Super Bowl. I guarantee you they would all say a Super Bowl. And Lamar Jackson is a guy that can absolutely win you a Super Bowl.
okay, maybe in this window for a couple of years.
That's all
But
you
like-
need is a franchise guy. A franchise
He is
guy
a
is someone who can
I
lead
think
you to a Super Bowl.
I think we
franchise
might.
guy.
I think we might have disagreements on what we think of franchise.
You think a
quarterback
franchise guy
is.
means someone who could be the face of your franchise for 15 years.
That's, in my opinion, what a
Our
franchise
definition of face of the franchise is someone who can lead you to a Super Bowl in their prime.
I think I agree with that, but I think that a franchise quarterback is more than just that.
I
think
don't.
I think when I say a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, it's a guy that plays for a really long time for your franchise, and they're the face of your franchise. They lead you to continued success for a very long time. And yes, they lead you to a Super Bowl. So I don't know. I agree with what you said, yes, but I think that a franchise guy is the face of your franchise for a long period of time.
I gotcha.
You know what this argument made me think of? The Iguodala.
All right, before we wrap up this segment, where do you guys think Lamar is going to go?
I'm gonna.
He will not be back with the Ravens based off of their recent signing of Roquan Smith.
Yes.
They re-signed him to a 5-year, $100 million extension.
Yes.
So-
I forgot about
Well deserved. Very well deserved. I think he's a tag and trade, and I'm going to say to the Jets.
All of you go before me because I don't have an answer for this right
Okay,
now.
I think he's going to go to the Dolphins.
I also think Dolphins.
I don't know. I don't want to say that he's going to leave Baltimore because in Baltimore it's like
Well, then you say he's not going to leave Baltimore.
No, I
Doesn't
don't
have
know.
to leave.
But I don't.
We just think
The thing
I
is,
think he's
with
not.
the
I think he should
Ravens,
sail.
I think the Ravens are too smart of an organization
to just let
to
him
let
walk.
him walk.
Well, I mean,
Like, it's, like
Well, that
we've
and that
seen-
creates a bigger hole this off season for
yeah,
them.
We've seen the
That's gonna be
past.
the biggest storyline of the
We've seen the
offseason,
past
is
2
Lamar
seasons. It's either you sign Lamar Jackson or you're terrible for the next 5 years. Like that's the situation we have. What I could see is a sign and trade with Miami. They trade Tua for Lamar. The Ravens start building towards the future, and the Dolphins get Lamar Jackson, and they make a run in a potential Super Bowl.
But
I
who
would
knows
like
if
to see
who knows if Tua's even going to be playing after
That's
this
what
year?
I'm saying.
Here's something I thought about. So let's say, like, they don't do a sign-in trade, or they do a sign-in trade just for, like, picks.
Right.
So if you look, quarterbacks on the market now is Derek Carr,
Yeah.
guys like Jimmy Garoppolo.
You could use a guy like that as a bridge
yeah.
quarterback.
So they could. I think they could go for. So if like let's say the
In Miami or
theoretically,
Baltimore?
let's say Baltimore. Let's say theoretically, let's say the Jets sign Derek Carr. So the Jets get Derek Carr. So then Jimmy G, I feel like he could go to the Ravens, or if the Ravens are like, okay, we want like
Full
we want a young guy.
Yeah.
I think they trade for Trey Lance.
They could.
I think
I love that.
If Brock Purdy has a big playoff run, I think Trey Lance becomes
Yeah.
expendable, and I think the Ravens should jump on that
The
opportunity.
Ravens could trade like a first rounder.
Yeah, like
for Lance.
if they get picks from the Dolphins for Lamar or whatever,
Trade one of them for.
I think you
Trey
get,
You
Lance.
trade to go. You go over to the Niners. get
What do you
Trey
want for
Lance.
Trey Lance?
What do you want
Yeah.
for Trey Lance?
And I think you.
That's also if they see Brock
Yes.
Purdy in their future.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I think Trey Lance, because he's like in a sense, guys that we've been talking about, strong arm but can run with his legs, and he's very unproven. So, I mean, but the Ravens are kind of in a win now, so I could very easily see them just going Jimmy G, seeing how that plays out, and then figuring out next year.
Yeah.
But if they really want to go kind of more younger, long term, I think they should trade for Trey Lance.
I like that.
If,
I do
didn't think
too.
about that.
If Brock Purdy is
I
actually,
like that a lot.
I never even thought about
if
that.
he has like success in the playoffs, but if Brock Purdy doesn't, then I don't think Trey Lance is on the market. But if Brock Purdy does, I think Trey Lance becomes expendable to the Niners.
If another person that we could consider with this, it's Richardson from Florida in the draft. Yeah, in the draft. So just throwing
Depends on
that
how
out
he
there.
does his combine and
Yes.
how high his
Yeah.
draft
Just
stock
throwing
ranks.
that out there.
So yeah,
I
they
think-
could go in some ways, but obviously losing a player of Lamar's caliber sets your team back because
absolutely.
he's a great
I
quarterback.
don't think I made a decision. I think we just like.
We just, I think we just assumed that.
I'm gonna be different. I'll say he goes to the Jets.
I
I
said
say
the
he'll go
Jets.
to
He
the
said
Jets.
I said the Jets.
Oh, you did? Oh, no. All right, I'm picking the Jets anyway.
Jets.
I think I'd rather see him on the Dolphins.
I would rather
though.
see him on the Dolphins.
Yeah,
but, like, I
that
don't-
that would be a
As a Bengals fan, I don't know if I'd rather see him on the Dolphins because we'd have to probably play him in the playoffs,
Yeah.
but it'd be a fun team.
that would be a
Well,
nasty
and
team.
that Dolphins are pretty much in win now. Also, they went out and grabbed Bradley Chubb.
yeah,
Tyreek Hill.
And
Tyreek
I
Hill.
also feel like Miami fits Lamar's vibe.
They do.
It does.
But I could
Well,
also
He's
see
from Florida, isn't he?
well, do you guys remember
I
in
could
the
also
off?
see him going big market for the Jets.
Do you guys remember in the offseason, like when like some fan like tweeted a photoshopped image of Lamar in a Dolphins uniform
Yeah.
and he retweeted it?
I saw that.
So I mean, I think he
I
would.
would love it so much.
I would too. That would be a very explosive offense. They would
for
have
sure.
3 of the
They would
fastest
have like
dudes.
5 primetime games, 5 or 6 primetime
Yeah,
games.
for sure.
Everyone would want to watch them.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, that whole Lamar situation is going to be something we're going to have to keep looking at, and that's probably going to be the biggest thing in the offseason.
The Jets would massively benefit though
really
too.
not that great.
There's
It's
some
quarterback,
points.
quarterback.
Quarterback wise, no. It's.
But
The Jets would massively benefit from Lamar Jackson too.
I am very excited this offseason for the running back market. There is a ton.
Pollard, I think,
Saquon's in there.
Is
I
Zeke in
think-
there too, or is it just Pollard?
Singletary's
I
in
think-
there.
I think Pollard ends up in at the Dolphins.
That would be-
I think Pollard goes to the Dolphins.
So
Dolphins might go all in.
the Dolphins
I
get
think
Pollard
it's
and Lamar
Very
with
well.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
That's a scary
Mike
offense.
Gesicki.
The only thing is, I don't know what their cap situation looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the money to do that. But
Led by Mike McDaniel.
yeah, but I think
Be a nasty football
Pollard,
team.
I think Pollard deserves to be the number 1 running back on the team.
Absolutely.
And And so I think
Absolutely.
I agree with
I
you.
think Miami.
I would
could
love seeing the
give him
Dolphins go for him. I think that would be sweet. That team would be a force to be reckoned with.
They would
in the
actually
AFC.
be a force to be reckoned with.
yeah,
the AFC.
100%.
Yeah.
We thought they might be this year when they started 8-3. They would
Actually be with Lamar Jackson.
They would actually be a Super Bowl contender with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
this year's running backs,
And Pollard.
Saquon. You got Saquon, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Jamal Williams, Josh Jacobs,
Josh Jacobs in front of him.
Miles Sanders,
everybody who did well on their contract.
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson's out there too.
Yep.
David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, Alexander Madison,
So this is a
Yeah, it's a
Tony
lot.
Pollard, James Robinson.
good running back.
That is a pretty good.
I want to see Jamal Williams succeed.
Free
so
agent.
I
bad.
do too. I
think he's
love
gonna
him.
go back to the Lions.
They already have DeAndre Swift. So what do you do
So,
with that?
but
Swift is a lot.
the
younger.
offense, and he is
Jamal
he is a
Williams
leader.
broke Barry Sanders
He did.
Lions.
Touchdown record.
I'm just saying,
He's a
Swift.
leader,
Swift
too.
is a lot younger, and
More of a receiving back.
yeah.
And he's
And,
very injury prone.
and the only he just had injuries this year. That's the only reason he didn't have a good year. I mean,
yeah, he was injured a lot last year too.
he was.
Yeah, he had like hamstring issues. All
Yeah,
that.
he has
that's
a lot of
right,
hamstring
yeah.
issues. Another team that me and Joel are high on in this offseason is the Bears. They just locked into the first pick because the Knicks Colts lost to the Texans.
Listen to me.
Listen.
Lovie Smith wanted to go out with a middle finger to the
Yeah,
Texans
he
organization.
gave the finger
He
to the
heard
Texans.
that there were rumors about him firing him, so he won the last game.
He gave them the finger.
That was really funny.
Hey, got us up to fourth in the draft. I'm not mad
the
at
Bears have the number one overall pick, and people are thinking, do they get a quarterback? Do they trade Justin Fields? Do they pick like Jalen Carter or Will Anderson? Me personally, I think Justin Fields did enough this year to
Solidify us.
At least another
Yeah,
season.
I don't think
I
in
would
this-
take Will
in
Anderson with that
in this
pick.
class. I don't think like Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud are really going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
I think you have to build like it's kind of how not like the Texans are, but like to a better Texans where you just need players.
Yeah.
like just need talent. And I mean, Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are absolutely monsters.
Yes.
Jalen Carter's one of the best pass rushing
Jalen
tackles.
Carter.
Well, that offense was that offense was putting up points. Their defense couldn't get a single stop.
Exactly. So I think you go for the defense, and if I'm the Bears, like let's say, obviously you love Jalen Carter and you love Will Anderson, but I think if you're looking like ahead, I think you trade down.
Trade down,
I
for
think
sure.
I think guys like the Colts, the Panthers,
Raiders.
the
Raiders.
maybe even the Texans. Maybe they don't think that Bryce Young's going to be there at 2, or they don't like Stroud.
They want to
Maybe-
make sure they
Yeah,
get Bryce
maybe
Young or C.J. Stroud.
I think you listen to every offer you can for the number 1 pick, and then you see because like if you trade down, let's say you trade with like the Colts,
Dark
Horse,
you trade down-
Dark Horse Bucks.
yeah,
Bucks too, yeah.
you trade down 3-4 picks, kind of let the thing fall.
Let the chips fall.
Yeah, and this is a good defensive class.
Oh,
Like,
it's
you got-
loaded.
It's
like,
loaded.
Top to
So
bottom.
you can obviously like Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are the 2 best, but like missing out on those and getting
Miles
Miles
Murphy,
Murphy,
Brian Breesy.
yes.
yeah, and then like you could get kind of how like the Dolphins did with the Trey Lance trade. So they traded back, they traded back, drafted Jalen Waddle that year, got
And they
it,
also took Jalen Phillips that year.
and then they got an extra pick which they then used to trade for Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
And
so-
now they don't have a pick.
yeah.
But it
But
is
so you can get as many future assets as you can while still
building a competent team with veterans in the league.
keeping a top 10 pick, which will still warrant you a good player,
Yeah, for
hopefully.
sure.
Yeah.
And then, like, they have the most cap space in the NFL right now. It's over 100 mil, right?
They're gonna splurge.
And so
in the
they
offseason.
could, like, that team could look drastically different. And like,
I
they can go.
I am so high on them next year.
They can do.
I think we need to see what they do in the draft in the
we'll have to see
offseason
what
before
they
we
do
say we're
first.
high on.
But they can go in a lot of different areas.
They
Just
have
the
they have
potential.
The, yeah,
The potential is
They can do
there
so much.
for the Bears.
The ball is in their
Justin
court.
Fields.
yeah. They have the potential.
Breakout
but
season.
Let's just see
I
what
think
they
Justin
do. With
Fields, like people are. I've seen a lot of things that they should trade him for like a first and like a third.
First, third, and
Why?
get like 6
But
decent
I
guys.
think Justin Fields.
Justin
like, he
Fields,
had a good
he
year.
had a good year. Like Justin Fields proved that he deserves at least one
actually
more shot.
had the most yards per rush of anyone in the league.
Yeah, like
Yards per-
Justin Fields proved
And also-
that he deserves a shot this year. Like at least
That
one
being
more
said-
year
And also
with
his offensive
people
line is
around
still
him.
not good.
No,
Really bad.
Yeah.
it's
No
really bad.
His
receivers
wide
either.
receivers are Darnell
Like, if
Mooney, Chase Claypool, and
Yeah.
Equanimous
Like-
St. Brown.
Yeah, like
but
how-
they got Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet's a dog.
Like, how about the Bears go out and actually get some good people around him and see what he does before they say, "Oh, let's trade him."
I mean, I could see like if they trade back for like let's say like 2 picks,
Trade back
Trade-
to like
trade with
trade
the
back.
Colts.
Yeah, say trade back to the 4.
Yeah, then they can draft a defensive guy, and then even like you get a guy like this receiver class is nice too. Like you get a guy in the second round. That could,
He's not going to fall.
He's not going to fall to the
probably
first.
not. But like if they like, maybe the Texans want to say, all right, we'll trade you 2 and what was it 12
yeah,
for 1. Like maybe for some reason that the Texans want to do.
Why
that.
would they do that?
I don't know why.
It's the
Just
Texans.
hypothetically.
it's the Texans. That is a good point.
You trade, then you get your defensive guy, and then you draft like a Quentin Johnson, JSN, somebody like Jordan Addison, somebody like that.
Yep.
You bring a playmaker in with Justin Fields, and I think that makes the world of difference.
Get him.
I think-
Jigba.
That'd be nice.
I think
That'd
you
be
still.
nice. That'd
I
be
like
a
Mooney.
connection.
Mooney has potential.
Mooney's good.
Mooney has so much potential. I don't know about Chase
Like I'm just
Claypool.
like I think that Chase Claypool's terrible, but I think that
He's
just
definitely your deep threat.
people hating on Justin Fields and saying he's terrible. It's like let's slow down and let's look at the team he has around him because he has nothing.
I
His
remember.
first year, he had arguably one of the worst coaches ever in NFL.
he had an awful
I remember
coach.
on this show, this
Yes, I know
podcast.
all of us on this podcast, but that's and then
All
like,
of yeah.
yeah, and he turned it around though. All
was-
right,
we've
he proved us
apologized
wrong.
for that.
That was the biggest L take of the year.
He literally, it was right after you guys made that take.
He started popping off.
popped
Yeah,
off.
but he
I was
proved
like,
he
He was
proved
waiting for me to say he wouldn't be an NFL
hey, he proved all of us wrong. He has proven that he deserves another chance, and let's like the Bears, like okay, let's like actually surround this guy with competent football players, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, my fear with that is, despite what he's shown as a runner, he's shown this year that he can make something out of nothing on any play. I think that's what everyone thought coming out of the draft. His arm is still not where you want it to be. And granted, he doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't have receivers, right? But some of the blame still has to go on Justin Fields. Like, if you watch the tape, there's this play against, I think it was the Lions in Week 17. They run a blitz. You have a running back in the flat. When a blitz comes, you got to get the ball out quickly.
Yeah.
You
gotta dump it.
You got to dump it. You dump it to the running back, he's got a first down, or at least like 8 or 9 yards.
Yeah.
Instead, he goes deep and just completely misses everyone. There's been
That's the inexperience.
yeah, there's been countless plays where he goes for the home run ball, and it's like he's A, miles inaccurate, and B, you just don't do that in the situation.
He had a bad game
But
against the
he
Lions.
did warrant, with his legs and the stuff that he did warrant at least one more year.
Yeah,
I-
for
I-
sure.
starting
I
quarterback.
also saw something the
You
other
can't say
day.
he's bad when he has no one around him yet.
I saw something the other day also. So, Josh Allen pre Stephon Diggs and Justin Fields this year. Literally, it's identical.
Carbon copy.
Yes. There's like Fields had a higher completion percentage. That was it. They had
He
the
also
same
threw
amount
the
of
ball
time.
less times. Though.
Yeah. But it was same amount of touchdowns, 19 turnovers, both of them. So
Get him some weapons.
No, yeah, I legitimately think like getting like the college your college receiver or getting just like that like a good
That
receiver
dude.
helps tremendously. Yes. But the thing with like Josh Allen, like I agree with that, but like Josh Allen already had like a good arm.
Yeah.
So like he just needed that piece, which obviously I think any like if they get a good receiver, I think it's going to help Fields tremendously. But I think like they can go in so many different ways. So it's really open. It's just whether they hit on their picks or whether they make the right decisions. But the only thing, if they're gonna trade Fields and like they were actually thinking of it, I would only trade Fields if they get the first pick next year somehow. I would only trade Fields, so I can draft Caleb Williams.
Yeah. For sure.
Any other quarterback, I'm sticking with.
Yes.
But if you can get Caleb Williams, I think Caleb Williams is a higher ceiling than Justin Fields does.
For sure.
So I would ship him.
So it's going to be Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler next year.
Spencer Rattler.
He came back to.
Did!
Next week is going to be, or not next week. Next year is going to be the Caleb Williams sweepstakes.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yep, absolutely.
And then if you miss out on Caleb Williams, you get Drake May, which is too shabby.
Which is
either.
not a terrible alternative.
This next year's
It's going
quarterback
to be
class
loaded.
is really
It's
good.
so good.
It's like, is it
Good. I'm tired of seeing these god
It's
awful
Caleb Williams, Drake
classes.
May. You got Michael Penix, who's been good. Spencer Rattler,
Ah,
possibly.
yes.
There's another guy, Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. Who are the other ones? Maybe Kyle McCord if he plays well. Who were the other ones? There was a lot.
Tennessee's backup. Not
Oh yeah,
Hunter.
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton.
So, yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks. So like, if you need a quarterback, maybe.
Yeah, you might wait till next season.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have not seen a like genuinely good quarterback class since Burrow and Herbert.
I was about to say 2020 was loaded.
Yeah.
You cannot lie.
What?
Burrow, Herbert,
Tua.
What about
Hurts.
Trevor Lawrence's class?
Yeah, okay, Trevor Lawrence, but then you had Zach
Lawrence?
Wilson. Zach Wilson's
Who else?
bad.
But
Trey Lance
like
hasn't
going
played.
into the season, the hype around it.
Yeah.
Like we're hyping up this class.
But an actually good quarterback draft class.
You don't know what they're gonna do yet, and
Until they get drafted.
until they get drafted. But like in terms of the
looking back
hype,
on it, there hasn't been. Okay, hype doesn't mean anything. I'm saying like we haven't had a genuinely like good quarterback class since Burrow and Herbert.
I don't know, 2021 was okay. Trevor
It was
Lawrence-
okay,
Trevor,
but,
Trevor
like-
Lawrence has been
But it's not like
Great.
20.
Other than
I agree.
Lawrence,
Yeah,
who
four-
else?
yes.
You had four
guys,
franchise cornerstones in that class.
which is not normal.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Like, the next year, all you had was Lawrence.
You get what I mean.
I don't know, Justin Fields.
And Fields, yeah, but like,
But Zach Wilson's bad. Trey Lance hasn't played. Mac Jones, we'll see what the Patriots do with that.
yeah. So like,
give him maybe a competent play.
But no, yeah,
Give him a
going
good offensive
coming
coordinator.
into like the season, like into the draft, like you had a generational prospect and Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones had just had an outstanding season at Bama, won
Right.
national championship.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Justin
there was
Fields
hype, but,
had
like-
sustained success. Zach Wilson was playing really well at BYU, so I guess but like
okay,
I get his point.
there was hype.
you've
But
had like
like,
four
look
like
at
franchise.
look at what they've done though. Like the only person out of that class to actually do anything is Lawrence and Fields.
Fields,
But
somewhat.
it's only been 2 years.
yeah, you gotta give
still-
him.
You got it. There's still time.
I don't know. I'm just
But no, it is.
I mean,
this
like,
quarterback class is better than this one in the year.
yeah.
Yes.
Like the Burrow and Herbert class is objectively the best quarterback class in a very long time, and that is not.
It's
arguable.
looking like it right now.
That's not.
I
Arguable.
mean, that you could potentially have at least two Hall of Famers at quarterback, depending
Burrow and Herbert.
depending how Burrow and Herbert.
Yeah, like
And
that.
then
That is not even
two
an
very
unarguable
solid.
thing I just said.
Yeah, next year's draft is gonna be really good. And also, like receiver wise, like Harrison, Luka.
Next year's draft.
It's gonna be loaded.
Like next year's draft class is gonna
Be
be
insane
real nice.
offense.
You're gonna have more Georgia defensive guys.
Brock
too.
Bowers is
Brock
declaring
Bowers,
next year too.
Next year he's
Yeah,
coming back.
he has to come back this year
Oh
too.
yeah,
'Cause he's only a sophomore.
yeah.
Kate Stover.
Oh my gosh.
Brock Bowers is a true sophomore. That is terrifying.
Kate Silver came back. So yeah, there's.
Next year's class is going to be
It's
ridiculous.
gonna be.
I like Michael Mayer this year.
Yeah, Michael
Yeah,
Mayer.
he said he wanted to be a Bengal, but he's
He
not
did.
going to be there at the Bengals.
Yeah, he won't be there.
He's going. He's early
But
first.
he said he wanted to be a Bengal.
That would be awesome. But I like Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, next year.
Hayden Hurst does the
next year's
trick
gonna
right
be-
now. He's
next
pretty
year's
good.
gonna be good. Yeah, we'll see how everything plans out.
Be a good class.
For sure. Yeah, that's all we got for today. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Boom.